Oh, hi. Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with Taste. It's me, Shaun Moore, and today I would love to share with you a recipe for a classic, a tried and true, and my favorite dessert, strawberry cheesecake. I know you guys waited so long for a tutorial, so let's get started. So the start to any great cheesecake is the crust. I prefer to use a mix of graham crackers and some shortbread cookies. In particular, I'm using a brand called Biscoff, and I prefer to use a mix of graham crackers and shortbread cookies because the sugar in the cookies allow me to use less sugar later. To achieve the ideal texture for your crust, I prefer to use a food processor, and if you don't have one, I also like to use a Ziploc bag and a rolling pin. I think most homes have a rolling pin, right? If you're choosing to mix by hand, just use your rolling pin and have some extra elbow grease. You need to get the texture down to, I would say, like sand. Just keep rolling and smashing your cookies until you get the right texture. Overall, it should take about 5 minutes. Okay, put your graham crackers and shortbreads into a mixing bowl, swirl it around. Using your baking brush, go ahead and coat your parchment paper and your baking vessel. After you coat your pan with butter, just go ahead and place your parchment paper around the pan. I love using parchment paper because it helps me alleviate my worries about my food possibly sticking to my pan. Okay, so now we know our pan is coated. Just go ahead and add your butter back into your pan with the graham crackers and shortbreads, and then add 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. Okay guys, mix everything and just prepare to pour it into your pan. So it's important to start yourself with a good foundation. Pour your mix into the springform pan, and you can use your hands, but I prefer to use a measuring cup just so you have yourself a more consistency on the pressure that you're going to apply onto your base. So once you structure yourself a decent base for your cheesecake, go ahead and press the graham crackers into the corners, and then you could go ahead and put the rest of your mix into the bottom. Okay, get your measuring cup and just go ahead and press the corners again to make sure everything is all secure. And you're going to bake that crust in a 350-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. In my stand mixer, I have 20 ounces of cream cheese, which is about 2.5 8-ounce packages. So on low speed, you're going to need to add your 1 1/3 cup of sugar, a pinch of salt, and your 5 eggs at room temperature. It's paramount for you guys to actually add your eggs one at a time and then incorporate slowly so you have a consistent texture. So pause. Now for those people who have to use a stand mixer, you have to scrape the bottom of your bowl so you make sure that everything's all incorporated evenly. And go ahead and continue mixing. Next, I'm adding my 16 ounces of sour cream, about 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, and a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Last, I'm adding my good vanilla. In this case, I'm using vanilla paste. So mix everything for about 1 minute. You don't want to overdo this process because you don't want to have a dense cheesecake. Okay, I'm done. And it's also important for you to taste the recipe too. In this case, I need to add a little bit more lemon juice, so I just added it. Okay guys, you're gonna need a water bath. So add your boiling water into another baking vessel. Reduce your temperature down to 325 degrees. Add your batter to your crust that's already been cooled down. Don't waste anything. And go ahead and smooth the top, and then I'll share with you another tip. Whenever you're baking, it's important for you to get out all the air bubbles, so lightly tap your mix on top of the table so that all the air comes to the top. Okay, so go ahead and put your cheesecake into the oven and bake it for about 1.5 hours, again at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, for this recipe, you're gonna need a glass of wine. Just kidding, maybe not. Okay, so get yourself some strawberries. I'm using about a pint worth of strawberries, organic. Get yourself a zester and zest your lemon. So I'm cooking everything under medium heat. The whole process should take about 5 minutes maximum. While the strawberries are cooking, go ahead and add your 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And I prefer to use powdered sugar because it not only has sugar, it also has cornstarch. And what the cornstarch does, it helps you thicken your sauce without compromising the texture of your strawberry. And go ahead and get your zested lemon and squeeze about half of that lemon into your sauce. You don't want to overcook your strawberries. At this point, it's important for you to taste your food. In my case, I need a little more sweetness in my sauce, but I didn't want to add more table sugar. Instead, I opted in for honey and some additional jam. And go ahead and add a pinch of salt. And to check for doneness, get yourself a spoon, and the sauce should coat the back of the spoon without any running. Okay, I think we're at the 1.5 hour mark, so let's go ahead and check on that cheesecake. And this is exactly why I like to use parchment paper. Look at that, there's not a crumb left behind. Now for the next step, you have to cool your cheesecake for about 2.5 hours, minimum. Look at how silky that cheesecake is. Now go ahead and get your sauce, pour it on top, get the presentation ready. Just a simple sprig of mint on the side, and bam, there we go, you got it ready. All you have to do now is just taste. Oh my god, you can't. This is just as good as Cheesecake Factory. I know, it's so good. And I guarantee you, you're paying a fraction of the cost of a whole cheesecake. This cheesecake is so good, it makes you want to scream. But you know what else makes you want to scream? That's right, ice cream. Okay, in my Dutch oven, I have 2 cups and half and 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Okay, so go ahead and add your sweetened condensed milk. So we're gonna pause for a second because we're having an earthquake. Yeah, those things kind of happen here and there, but you know, we're gonna work all the way through it. Just to ensure that everything is incorporated, just go ahead and whisk or just stir everything around. And we need to go ahead and crack some eggs. So I'm separating 6 egg yolks. And keep in mind that every egg is in room temperature. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And I have 1 cup of sugar. Blending the sugar and the eggs is important because the next step after this, we're going to be tempering the eggs. So the sugar, by it coating the eggs, is going to help form as a protecting bond that helps the sugar not curdle when exposed to the heat. Continue to blend your eggs and your sugar until the color of the eggs turn to a pale white color. Ladle your cream into the eggs and continue to blend. By tempering the eggs is another way to ensure that your eggs don't curdle once you incorporate it back into the pot. Well, with that being said, go ahead and incorporate the eggs back into the pot. And add a pinch of salt. Now, I got my thermometer. It's important for you to reach 170 degrees Fahrenheit. It is essential for you to reach that temperature because all the bad pathogens are dead. And the last thing you want is to get sick from ice cream. Last, I'm adding my good vanilla. In this case, I'm using vanilla paste. And while you're at it, get yourself a nice mixing bowl and a strainer. And then from this point, go ahead and cool down your mix. I'm using a KitchenAid attachment, and it required me to actually freeze the bowl for half a day. If you have a particular machine that you prefer to use, by all means use it, but make sure to follow those particular instructions before you get started on the next step. In the meantime, you can play some cards, you could chat with your friends, drink a little bit, maybe look at a magazine. Okay, go ahead and taste your ice cream. Honestly, the flavor would taste much different once it's cooled versus it being in its warm state. So now what I'm doing, I'm getting a storage vessel for my ice cream base. And then what you need to do, you need to get a piece of parchment paper or wax paper and just line the ice cream so that you won't form any extra ice crystals. And then get some saran wrap and just coat the top of your pan. So once everything's secure, go ahead and put it in the freezer. Okay, so now everything's kind of semi-hard. Now what you're gonna do, yes, we're gonna incorporate the cheesecake and the strawberry sauce to make my favorite dessert, strawberry cheesecake ice cream. And it is as decadent as it sounds. So go ahead and mix everything And then, this is the best part about making your own ice cream. You can make it however way you want to. You can add as much strawberries if you like strawberries. If you like cheesecake, add more cheesecake. So once everything's mixed, go ahead and get some wax paper or parchment paper and put that on top of the ice cream. And as we did before, put some saran wrap on top of that and then put that back in the freezer until everything is solid. Okay, there we go. Look, you guys, you did it. It's actually pretty easy. So like I said before, I hate being stingy, so get yourself about 2 scoops of ice cream. And you can choose to decorate however way you want to. There is plenty of strawberry sauce. I have extra strawberries. And then what's best to do is go ahead and fan it out on top of your plate. And boom, there we go. Now we have it. Get your graham crackers and just smash them. Remember, we have graham crackers already in the crust. So it just makes sense for you to put the graham crackers already on top. And look, there we have it. Add a sprig of mint, and we're done. Honestly, this tastes exactly how I imagined. This combination offers not only sweetness, but also a tangy flavor profile which comes obviously from the strawberries, the lemon, and also the cream. Overall, I learned how to make a proper ice cream. Thank you for liking this recipe. So go ahead and watch the end of this clip. There's some funny bloopers in it, and I promise you to make more videos in the future. If you like what you saw today, go ahead and comment, like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Shaun.mooresmore. Stick around for the extras.